Hey guys, so it's time to do this video where we will compare the Samsung Galaxy S2 versus the new Samsung Galaxy S4. And I think this will be a fun video to do because I do think that a lot of people will upgrade from, a GS2 to a GS4 because a lot of people is like on a 2-year contract. So if we take a look at the price, like the price is interesting, of course, as always. We always want to know the latest price and stuff. So in the price by app here, we can see that the price is around 200 to 300, pounds for the Samsung Galaxy S2, while you can pick up the Galaxy S4 for around 500 to even up to 500 to 800 pounds. So of course it is way more expensive, okay? It's way more expensive, but is it worth it? That's a good question. We will be taking a look at a lot of things today. We will be going over the form factor, and we will be also checking out some other things like the full specs, do a quick little browser look, the camera, gaming, benchmark, Kindle, everything. Very nice. So where should I begin? Now, the first thing that you need to know about this video is, of course, the Galaxy S2. If you didn't know already, it was the Samsung's flagship device, their high-end device for 2011. Last year, they did have the Galaxy S3 and already made a comparison, reviewing the Galaxy S4 versus the Samsung Galaxy S3. So that's why I'm doing the GS2 right now. Also, if you want to see the iPhone versus the Galaxy S4 video, I also do have a review like that out. So let's start off with the first thing. We do have a black Galaxy S2. It's available in other variants as well, like the pink edition actually, and a white edition. While right now the GS4 is only available in white and black variants, and I will see if I can buy the black variant as well on the GS4 maybe. And also there's of course different variants of the GS4 out. There's an octa-core variant with 8 cores, and then of course there is the normal GTI 9505 that is launching now in a ton of regions, and that is the one that most people have, and it's just the quad-core one. But of course the GS2 here is only a dual-core variant compared, but it doesn't really make a big difference. Well, we start off, as I said, first with form factor. We can see here on the front side, of course the GS4 is a little bit thinner here, but it's also a little bit bigger. So if we put it on top here, you can see that it is a little bit bigger. It might be a little bit hard to see here, but not extremely much bigger, but it is a little bit bigger. But it's thinner. As I said, there's 7.9 millimeters or something in thickness, while the GS2 is 8.5 millimeters. The GS2 comes with a 4.3-inch display, while the Galaxy S4, of course, is coming with the 5-inch HD display. So that is pretty cool. You can also see the more like a rounded off design here, that you get a little bit more of a rounded off design here on the Samsung Galaxy S4. You can also see that the home button is also a little bit more rounded off here. On the GS2 is a little bit more of a square design. It doesn't point out, actually, it doesn't point out at all, but you can feel a little bit on the side here, and then of course 2 capacitive touch buttons. While of course on the GS4 the button sticks out a little bit, and I kind of like that feeling actually. And then of course you do have the same kind of menu key and the back key over here, so that is very nice there. So no, they kind of work the same there in the buttons, but they have a little bit of a different form factor. At the top here also, of course, we do have some new sensors on the GS4, like humidity sensor, temperature sensor, some IR sensor. So you should be able to, in some way, be able to control like a TV with the Galaxy S4. So of course that is pretty cool. That's pretty cool, using like a remote control. So that's pretty awesome. Of course, that's not something that you will get on the Galaxy S2. But of course, you also do have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera on both these devices. Could be kind of nice to know, but you know, not everything is about the megapixels. On the right side on both phones, we do have you know, the power on button, and it's located at the same place on both phones. The Galaxy S2 is of course a little bit, has like more rounded off sides. While the GS4 here have adopted more of a, like an iPhone and pad phone 2 look here at the sides, with a very wide side. That's actually better than I think than with the Galaxy S3, because it's easier to touch the buttons, because you can really feel that this is a side. While on the GS2 and the GS3 it's a little bit less rounded off. But I kind of like it. It also makes the device look pretty cool, I think. So it goes around the whole phone, and it's not like in a metallic material or anything. It's kind of like plastic, it feels like. So of course that could be a little bit disappointing. But I kind of like it. On the left side here, you do have volume up and down keys. Same with the Galaxy S2, you know, volume up and down keys as usual. When we take a look here at the bottom of the devices, of course, micro USB port to charge these devices up. Also, take a look at the top, both have the headphone jack there. And now when we start off with the back side, we can see here I have a custom you know, case here on my my GS2 here, because one of my Galaxy S2s got stolen, so I bought a new one. But you can see here, yes, that's the Swedish flag, and yes, I'm a Swede, you know. So you can still remove the back on both these two devices, so that is good, because that means that if you would drop the device in water, you can you know, take out the battery and let it dry, and also you can replace the back with another, you know, cool back like this one. And then also there are some you know, extended batteries that will take advantage of this, so you will get like a battery plus a case, or you know, use the back plate, so then you can have a bigger battery. And something also that you can see with these devices is that the camera is located in the middle on both. That was the Galaxy S3 actually didn't have that. The GS3 that was in the middle of these two devices. Oh yes, it did have. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But yes, it also did have that, of course. But they have different, you know, some small different design changes here. You get this little bump here on the GS2 at the bottom, of course. And then of course you do have this speaker here. I'm not sure what I like about the bump. I'm not sure why they did it. Maybe because they want to compensate that this one sticks out a little bit, the 8 megapixel camera. I'm really not sure. Could be that that's the case. You get a 30 megapixel camera here on the Galaxy S4 with the flash located at the bottom over there. Both have the same kind of plastic feel, and then of course the speaker here is at the bottom as well on the Galaxy S4. I'm not really sure why Samsung placed the speaker on the back. I think it's kind of bad, because you know, when you use the device like this, you know, the volume will be on the back side. I think that now Samsung can definitely, when they have this big fat design here, that they definitely could in future try to put the speakers on here, or you know, at the front side maybe. That would definitely be a nice little feature and update. So that was a quick little look here in terms of the form factor. Now also how they feel. I definitely do believe that you know, the Galaxy S2 feels a little bit too much light here. It feels a little bit like the Galaxy S4 is a little bit you know, a little bit more weight to it, which I do kind of enjoy, and it should, because it has a bigger display. And then also it feels a little bit more exclusive for me personally, because it has this side. I really do love this big fat side around the phone, and that it looks like it's a different material, and it looks so good, so good. So I do kind of like it, and also do like that the button is kind of bigger than the one that you did get on the Galaxy S3, even though the Galaxy S3 is my main smartphone right now, since my Galaxy Note 2 decided to not want to work again. So if we continue on here and take a look at the UI, so the first thing of course that we can see here is that they do have different UIs, and this is something of course these two phones rock Android, with of course Samsung do control their own experience with a custom skin that they have on top of Android, and they are calling it TouchWiz. And of course you can see some cool features here with TouchWiz, with the latest version of Android here and TouchWiz that Samsung has made, so you have kind of like a cool light effect in the lock screen, and I do kind of like that, and that they've added new wallpapers. It could be some small things for many people, but I kind of like it when companies show that they do care a lot about not just the hardware, but also the specs and the software experience. So I think it's kind of cool. So if we continue on here, Samsung of course has so many new S features and S things inside of the Galaxy S4, and probably a lot of those software things they can be ported over to the Galaxy S2 and also the Galaxy S3 and like maybe the Galaxy Note 2, but I haven't taken a deeper look at it right now. But there are some like S Translate, S Health, you have the optical reader, story album. I will take a closer look at that in the future, but there is a ton of new features in terms of the TouchWiz experience compared to the Galaxy S2. Now, a lot of Galaxy S2s come shipped with Android 2.3, but Samsung is rolling out an Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean update right now for the Galaxy S2 that should be available right now as I speak. Some things that I kind of like a lot with the latest version of Android here and with the Galaxy S4 is of course that you do get the latest version of Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with Samsung's custom made TouchWiz, with all of their new S features, and I will definitely take a closer look at that, so I can take a deeper look at it. But some of them are, as I said, were like S Health and S Voice has been available for some time, but S Translate is also a new one. And then of course Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean is not available. That core version of Android is not available right now for the Galaxy S2. And then also of course that you do know with the Galaxy S2 that you will get the latest versions of Android first. So when we scroll down here to the notification center, here we can see one cool thing also with the Galaxy S4 is that you have this quick little view here where you quickly can disable things that you don't want to have in the quick menu, but that's a nice little feature. You can also see here you can disable the brightness adjustments, or you have the quick settings buttons here that you can customize. A nice little extra feature there that I do kind of enjoy. And then also the brightness is turned on full on both these two devices. That's kind of the thing that's been changed over here. When we go inside of the settings area, actually this is a big thing with the Galaxy S4 that Samsung has organized it a lot better with different tabs on top. Instead of just scrolling up and down, they decided that people like tabs more, and I kind of do think that's the case, because if you look at browsers like Google Chrome and stuff, people like tabs. So we do have one tab for connections where you have everything about your connections. So when you want to connect with someone or anything, this is the area you go with. Screen mirroring nearby devices. You see a lot of things that you would have missed probably in normal cases, and the connection is something that you usually do a lot. In the GS2 they call it wireless network, and then you have your My Device settings. When you want to change anything on your device, you just go to this area. Then also you have your account page when you add new accounts and stuff. It's pretty nice. And then also the more page where you can see everything about your device. You can see here, as I said, 4.2.2 Jelly Bean and then 4.1.3 Jelly Bean here on the Galaxy S2. But I think I did flash this firmware myself on the GS2, but I think it should be out also right now. So of course that is very, very nice to know there. So in terms of TouchWiz experience, I always liked TouchWiz. I always enjoyed it. But of course then also you have a ton of firmware support, and you will get a ton of firmware support for the S4 as well. But for the S2, there's a lot of firmwares out, so if you want to customize the appearance, especially with Android and the free world, it's very, very easy to do that. So let's continue on. Let's check out the specs. Let's do this. Let's check out the specs. So the first thing that you need to know about the Galaxy S4 if you're going to use it a lot on a carrier, is that of course it's a 4G smartphone. Same with the Galaxy S3, and of course this depends on the regions, but overall it's a 4G smartphone. That means that you will, you know, surf 2 to 3 times faster than a normal 3G smartphone. So of course the Galaxy S2 is actually available in my country with an LTE variant of the Galaxy S2, and also I think in the US they have a different LTE variants of the S2 out, but where I live, you know, it's more popular with this variant of the S2 that doesn't have 4G. So also in terms of specs, as I said there, the S4 is bigger, but it is thinner, and that's very, very nice. You got the Super AMOLED Plus display here on the Galaxy S2, which is pretty interesting because it has the resolution 480x800, and I've never really seen a you know, difference between Super AMOLED screen and Super AMOLED Plus. But it should be something that's better with this S2 display or something. But AMOLED Plus, that's what you get on the S2 with 480x800, 4.3-inch screen. So it's, of course, it's a lot smaller. Where you get the normal Super AMOLED screen here on the S4, that actually I think looks a little bit more vibrant than the S3. I'm not sure if it's just because of the background and the, you know, the icons that they've changed, that it just looks more brighter, or, you know, maybe they calibrated the AMOLED screen a little bit, but it definitely looks nice. So there is of course high resolution here on the Galaxy S4, that you get 1920x1080p resolution, so HD resolution, 5-inch screen, 5-inch is very, very nice. So it actually is like thinner. That's something that Samsung has been doing lately, is that they've been making a bigger display, but they've been making the phone feel smaller, or actually that's smaller in your hand, and I think that's kind of impressive. Of course, you can also see there in terms of the border size here, you can definitely see that the Galaxy S2 has bigger borders compared to the more of a thin border here on the S4, and that's something that you can also see when you compare the Galaxy S4 compared to the Galaxy S3, that, you know, it is a little bit thinner over there, and I think that's a very, very nice thing. Also in terms of protection, you do get Galaxy, you know, the Gorilla Glass 3 on the new S4, which should be even better in terms of scratch resistance, and I've been trying it a lot, you know, to scratch the phone. You know, the Galaxy S3 that was rocking Gorilla Glass 2, and this is Gorilla Glass 3, so even more of a new generation should be also good, you know, when you have your device in your pocket, versus the Galaxy S2 that have the, you know, just the first generation of Gorilla Glass, but should still, you know, be pretty good over there. In terms of SD card and, you know, battery, of course, as I've been already mentioning, you know, you do have SD card available on both these two devices, so you know, you will be able to expand the memory if you want, and there's SD cards up to 64 gigabytes. Then of course internal storage, the S2 is available in 1632 gigabytes variants versus the Galaxy S4. I mean the Galaxy S2 1632 gigabytes variants versus the Galaxy S4's 1632 and 64 gigabyte variants that you can purchase. Now the 64 gigabyte variant is probably very, very hard, and also same with the 32 gigabyte variant is probably really hard to get access to right now. But then of course I would recommend just buy a 16 gigabyte one, and, you know, insert a 64 gigabyte SD card if you want to have a lot of storage right now. In terms of camera, you got an 8 megapixel shooter here on the S2 versus a new 30 megapixel shooter here on the S4, so you definitely will see some quality difference over there. But I already did compare the S3 camera versus the S4, and there really wasn't any major difference, and that you can also get an 8 megapixel camera here on the S2. I really don't think most people will care that much, but definitely you of course will get, you know, there is like 2 years difference between these phones, so you will get you know, a better camera here, also with a ton of more features, and you can also see that the app is updated here on the S4 smartphone. HDR, you know, video, you can probably burst pictures pretty quick also, or, you know, quicker. So of course that is something that's very, very nice. In terms of chipset, also of course you get the Samsung's Exynos chipset inside of the S2. Same chipset that Samsung has been using for a long time now in their Galaxy devices, versus the Galaxy S4 that's coming in 2 different variants. One with the Qualcomm APQ8064T chipset, Snapdragon 600, same that you would get kind of like in an HTC One. So that's kind of interesting in that area, that we'll probably kind of see the same performance, the HTC's flagship device for this year versus Samsung. So of course that's very, very interesting. I do know there's also this Exynos variant of the S4 coming out very soon, and I would love to see if I can pick it up. And that one also has more cores, so it would be fun to see if that one will be better, because actually I do like Exynos a lot. And in terms of performance here, you can't really spot a major difference there, because the Android team has been updating Android so good that it's extremely good. But yeah, you get a quad core clocked at 1.9 gigahertz Cray 300 processor inside of the S4, which is something that is some of the best things that you can get right now on the market in terms of performance. It's higher clocked than on the HTC One's processor is clocked at like 1.7 gigahertz versus the processor that you're gonna get inside of the GS2, which is a dual core 1.2 gigahertz variant right now. Still not bad. I mean, like you can still use the device. I have no problem. I would have no problem whatsoever if my Galaxy S4 got smashed or something to use the GS2 for a few days or even a few weeks. No problem whatsoever. But it is way lower, like dual core 1.2 gigahertz Cortex A9 architecture versus almost 2 gigahertz quad core. We'll probably do some benchmarking comparisons later and see the performance, but it is a lot better in terms of the specs, and it should be, because it's newer. And then also in terms of the GPU, you get the Mali 400 GPU, MP GPU inside of the S2, so almost the same as you get in an S3 Mini, but the S3 Mini only has the Mali 400, not the MP there at the end. And MP stands for like multi-processor. So Mali 400 has major support in the Google Play Store, so you will get like almost like good performance in every single game out there, because there's a lot of people using these devices, so developers is focusing a lot on that. Well, you of course get a way better GPU here inside of the S4. We will take a quick little gaming look here very, very soon probably. But you get the Adreno 320 GPU, which is performing amazing in Gameloft games, especially like Asphalt 7 and all these modern combat games, and Gameloft produce a lot of games. But in terms of like GTA Vice City and the GTA games, I think that the Mali 400 actually do crush the Adreno 320. But of course, I haven't tried out the Adreno 320 Plus, the processor inside of the GS4. Only been trying out the Nexus 4 with the Adreno 320 GPU, but not as good processor. So I will definitely hopefully take a gaming look at that. But yeah, way better GPU also in terms of gaming. And then also one big thing here at the end is the battery. So of course the GS4, when it has like better specs like quad core, it has better CPU, GPU, everything, a screen that draws more battery, it has a bigger battery. So you get a 1650 milliamp battery here inside of the S2 versus a 2600 milliamp battery inside of the GS4. So extremely nice there to have 500 more milliamps in the GS4 compared to earlier generations. So that's something that we've been seeing with Samsung, that they've been bumping up the milliamps each generation to around 500 extra milliamps compared to what Apple's doing. They haven't really bumped up the milliamps that much, but then of course they haven't bumped up anything of the specs that much. So that's they don't have to. So if you take a quick little look here at the browser, I mean, definitely for me, bigger is better most of the time, and it's kind of hard here. I think that Samsung has to do something with their. Usually, I don't use their built-in browser that much, but it actually is pretty good. But they need to clean up, how it looks like in the top here, because it's a little bit hard here to see what kind of page you're on. And they should remove these, I think, to only have a quick bar here so you can quickly start to type. But when we are inside of the browser here, definitely the typing, I think it's so much easier to do on the GS4, because I'm so used to these bigger smartphones. like the Note series. And right now I don't use my Note because I did actually not be that careful with it, and that was kind of stupid. So something I can see with the displays here, you have the Super AMOLED Plus display on the GS2, but in terms of the colors, I would say the white actually do look better here. White seems to be looking better, and also the display looks brighter here on the GS4 compared to the GS2. Now, of course, the display still performs very good here. We can zoom in here and we can go up and down very easy. Kind of weird here, actually. I do think that it feels a little bit too laggy when you go up and down in the browser on the GS4. It should actually perform better. I'm sure if that has to do with that the phone is new, the software hasn't been fully optimized yet, or if it's just because they are actually having the Qualcomm processor and that they haven't optimized it yet. It would be very fun for me to get hands on the other GS4, which is having this Exynos CPU. But of course it's pretty smooth still. Something that is a little bit annoying for me though is like when you zoom in, I can't zoom in fully. I mean, like they do have like a limit on how far I can zoom in, and I'm not really sure why that's the case. I find it a little bit annoying, but of course I'm a reviewer, I need to check out these things, but I find it very annoying actually that I can zoom in more, while of course on a phone like the GS2, it feels like I have more freedom to zoom in how long I want, So, I kind of like that feeling. But overall, there's other than that, there is really not that of a big deal. You do have some cool, S features inside of the browser as well. You should be able to use the browser with your on top of the phone and stuff. So I'll definitely take a closer look at that also. When I've been playing around with that more in future videos, the S features that's new with the Galaxy S4. So if you take a look also, I did take a quick little look here at the camera, and if I'm going to be honest here, it did really seem like a lot of the camera features, it's better on earlier generation, like on the Galaxy S3, or like a lot of phones that are coming out right now with the 13 megapixel camera. It really just feels like they haven't really optimized or made so much things better in terms of video quality, or and also just in general, camera quality. It really doesn't feel like it is that of a big difference. So that definitely is something that you should know. Something that I was a little bit annoyed by here also with the Galaxy S4 is that they now have moved this one. So if you want to show your gallery with all the pictures when you have the phone like this, you have to tap up here, and it's kind of hard to reach this area on a big phone. They should have put it down here at the bottom. I find it very annoying actually. So of course you do have this thing that you can record a video and take pictures at the same time. You do have different modes here built in, like sports, rich tone, and some cool features that you probably don't get with the GS2 right now. But it's interesting to know about. So if we continue on here, let's see here. I mean, like, definitely the quality will be better on the GS4 compared to the GS2. But the GS2 will still be a good camera in general, just for taking normal pictures. But the flash and video mode is probably way better here on the on this GS4. So if we continue now and also check out some quick little gaming. So we quickly fire up Asphalt 7. It was already up and running here. So I'm just gonna resume. So you can see here the performance. This is a Gameloft game. It runs amazing on the Adreno 320 GPU plus the the amazing CPU that you get inside of the GS4. I mean, like, you won't have any problems whatsoever. It will be one of the best gaming experiences you can get right now on an Android device, and I haven't been able to pick up the HTC One, but it should provide kind of the same performance here. I mean, like, we really do not have, we have super stable FPS, and it feels super good to hold this phone also with the wide sides, and then also One thing that they could have improved though was the speaker that is located on the back. A little bit annoying. And then we do have, of course, the GS2. And let's see if it can load. Of course, I mean, like, it's a dual-core processor. That is going to be a major thing that, you know, the processor is a major thing that makes these two phones different in terms of performance. So, in terms of performance, let's see. It feels like the graphics is like lower, that they've set it to lower, and the FPS is, you know, not even close to, you know, as good as you will get on the GS4. But this is also a new game. I mean, like, they do have older Asphalt games that probably isn't as heavy, but you will feel a difference, definitely. You will feel the difference. And sure, you can run this game, but it's, you know, not as smooth. So if we continue on here and you know, move on, let's just check out some quick little, you know, the Kindle reading app. You know, some people have been wondering, like, will you see a difference between like a 720p screen and like a HD display, like a full HD display? Will you see a difference, you know, when you zoom in, you know, really much or have very small text? I mean, like, you probably won't have any major issues, you know, whatsoever. We can try to make the text very small here on the 480 times 800. I mean, like, it's not even 720p on the GS2. And you will see it a little bit that, you know, the text could be a little bit sharper here on the GS2. Yes, it could be sharper, while on, of course, the GS4 you will get real clarity. You know, you won't be able to see like any weird pixels or anything like that. It will be super clear text, even when we go smaller here. So even when we go down to really small text, of course you will have more reading also, but it really looks clear here, and also that the white color definitely looks more white here on the GS4's display here. So that's definitely something also to consider if you're going to do a lot of that. For me, it's a big thing actually to, you know, have a nice little experience there. So if we continue on and check out some quick benchmarking here, shall we? So the first little test we will be doing here in terms of benchmarking is going to be the Antutu benchmarking program. I'm going to run this test. And it will be testing out different things, you know, CPU, RAM, everything. There we go. So we got a score now on the Galaxy S4. Score of 25,000. So let's see now versus the Galaxy S2, what kind of score it will, be getting here. A score of 9,700. So first of all, the CPU is so much better on the S4. I mean, 12,000 versus 3,000. I mean, it's like 4 times the power. It's really insane there. The GPU is like twice what you get on the S2. So I mean the S2 is still good there in terms of gaming. That it only is half. It's still a good GPU. The RAM though is also like 3 times or like 4 times better here on the S4 almost. The I/O kind of seems to be the same. So, the biggest difference definitely will be in terms of, performance there will be the CPU. So we'll also be running a very heavy test here. Another cool benchmarking program called 3D Mark. And this is a program that's even heavy for, new smartphones. So it will be interesting to see here. So we'll be running this program. So this is of course a very graphic intense benchmarking program. There we go. So getting the score here. Okay, so we got, oh my god. So we got a score of 1,574 here on the Galaxy S2, while we got a score of 11,265. So, I mean, when we talk about gaming performance and GPU performance plus CPU, I mean, like, there's no doubt that the S4 is a good purchase. But I mean, I think the S2, the GS2, it's still a very, very good phone. And the best thing with it right now is that, you know, it is cheaper. And you know, you can still use it. It's got a camera, you can still use it, you know. But if you want the best, you know, the S4 is definitely something that you should go with. You can check it out in the description. I will, you know, leave links if you want to check it out a little bit more on Amazon. And also, you know, if you could leave some feedback and give this video a like, definitely it would help. And you know, I love all the feedback, so if you want to see any specific video review or anything upcoming, please let me know about that and I'll see what I can do. You can also say in the comments section down below which is going to be your favorite phone. I mean, I think that, you know, the S2 still has a lot of, you know, supporters and stuff, but I mean, like the S2 or S4 is kind of the S2. But they have improved it, you know. It's you know, it's still a Samsung phone. They loved this phone 2 years ago, and now they improved it and, you know, made it to like the S4, and everyone loves it, and everyone's gonna buy it, and it's awesome and it's great. So yeah, quick little video here. Hope you did enjoy, and until next time, just have an awesome day. Peace.